Robert, for now, thank you. Now, the footballer Fabrice Muamba is launching a campaign to raise awareness about sudden cardiac arrest, just months after he suffered an attack on the pitch. The former Bolton midfielder has now been fitted with a defibrillator after he collapsed during an FA Cup tie at Tottenham in March.
If there was no defibrillator, no people who wasn't able to use it, it would have been a whole different story. So we wanted to raise this awareness, and hopefully somebody can be saved and somebody can learn how to do this and save somebody's life. So we're very small but very powerful at the same time. You know what they can do and what, how much life they can save. So to me, I'm grateful to see it, grateful to be a part of something like this, and hopefully help more people in the future. I feel much better, stronger, and just getting better every single day.
Well, let's talk to cardiologist Professor Richard Schilling, who was Fabrice Muamba's doctor. He's with us in the studio this morning. I mean, it's fascinating to look at him now. It seems a bit awkward asking about a patient because normally you can't talk about them, but how close to death was he?
Well, clinically he probably was dead for about 80 minutes. His heart was stopped. There was no cardiac output. And Fabrice is very happy for us to talk about this because he's very interested in improving the chances of other people that have the same thing happen and widening CPR and the use of automatic external defibrillators.
And we know that makes a significant difference, doesn't it, a defibrillator? You've got one with you this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, how do people go about using one? Because, I mean, they're a scary piece of kit in themselves. You see them in all the dramas, everyone's shouting clear and all the rest of it. We know these are installed in places, shopping centres and all sorts now around the country, and yet using one is a different matter, I would have thought.
Well, we know that if you have CPR or an AED, your chances of surviving a cardiac arrest are almost doubled, if not more. And I've never used this before. You guys got it biked here, so let's see if I can use it. There's a green button that we press.
Let me lift it up that way, then we can see it a little bit better.
Patient call for medical assistance.
And after this, it does everything.
Remove clothing from patient's chest to expose bare skin.
And then it tells you everything that you need to do.
Tab to remove pads.
Right.
And so it carries on.
Pads from liner.
So it will walk you through the whole process without you actually having to know anything about how to use these things. It just tells you what you need to do and tells you what's going on. So
and then it will deliver the shock as necessary.
If it's appropriate, yeah.
If it's so will it work out whether it's appropriate or not?
Well, they're very reliable. They will work out whether they need to give a shock or not and then deliver it when needed and tell you just before it's going to do it.
That's an incredible piece of equipment. I didn't realise they were that automated. Expensive, I would imagine, a piece like that, but a real lifesaver.
I think they're relatively cheap. I mean, they're less than £2,000 each, from what I understand. But I see patients coming in all the time. I had a guy come off a Monarch airline who was resuscitated on the flight, had 6 shocks from an AED, and he's doing very, very well today, thanks to the air hostesses and air stewards on that flight.
How common are, because we think about heart attacks, we know that sudden cardiac arrests are technically different. How common are they? How many deaths do they cause in the UK?
Well, they're very, very common. Last year, the London ambulance alone responded to 9,000 cardiac arrest calls, of which around 4,000 were resuscitatable. Of those, half of them were witnessed and half of them had CPR. So 1,900 people in London did CPR on a patient, improving their chances of survival. And that's why London's figures are some of the best in the world for survival of cardiac arrest. And what we want to do is get the rest of the UK up to that figure.
Well, it's certainly raising awareness, and seeing Fabrice improve as he has done over the recent months is, a witness in itself, isn't it? Professor, good to see you this morning. Thank you. Awesome break.